like to have some cup of tea? July bent at the doorway and began that day for them as his kind has always done for their kind. The knock on the door, 7 o'clock. In governors' residences, commercial hotel rooms, shift bosses' company bungalows, master bedrooms en suite, the tea tray in black hands, smelling of Lifebuoy soap. The knock on the door. No door, not this day. An aperture in thick mud walls and the sack that hung over it looped back for air. Sometime during the night, I'm stifling. Her voice raising him from the dead, he staggering up from his exhausted sleep, and no knock. But July, their servant, their host, bringing 2 pink glass cups of tea and a small tin of condensed milk, jaggedly opened, specially for them with a spoon in it. No milk, not for me. Nor me, thanks. The black man looked over to the 3 sleeping children, bedded down on seats taken from the vehicle. He smiled in confirmation. They all right? Yes. They're all right. As he dipped out the doorway, thank you, July. Thank you so very much. She had slept in round mud huts roofed in thatch like this before. In the Kruger Park, a child of the shift boss and his family on leave, an enamel basin and ewer among their supplies of orange squash and biscuits, coming clear as this morning light came. Rondevelles, adapted by Ban's ancestors on his Boer side from the huts of the blacks. They were a rusticism true to the continent. Before air conditioning, everyone praised the natural insulation of thatch against the heat. Rondevelles had concrete floors, thickly shined with red polish, veined with trails of red ants in Botswana, with Bam and his guns and his hunter supply of red wine. But this one was the prototype from which all the others had come, and which they all returned. Below her, beneath the iron bed on whose rusty springs they had spread the vehicle's tarpaulin, a stamped mud and dung floor. Above her, cobwebs stringy with dirt dangling from the rough wattle steeple that supported the frayed grey thatch. Stalks of light poked through, a rim of shady light where the mud walls did not quite meet the eaves, and nests glued there of a brighter coloured mud, and wasps, bats. A thick lip of light round the doorway. A bald fowl entered with chicks cheeping. The faintest sound in the world. Its gentleness, its complete orderliness, produced sudden, total disbelief. Maureen and Bam Smales, Bamford Smales, Smales Caprano and Partners, architects. Maureen Hetherington from Western Area Gold Mines, under 10, Silver Cup, the classical mime at Johannesburg, Eidsford. Oh, she closed her eyes again, and lurching motion of the vehicle swung in her head as the swell of the sea makes the land heave underfoot when the passenger steps ashore after a voyage. She fell asleep, first sensory dislocated by the assault of the vehicle's motion, then broken in and contained by its arrhythm. She had slept from time to time in the 3 days and 3 nights, hidden on the floor of this vehicle. People in delirium rise and sink in and out of lucidity. The swaying, shuddering, thudding, flinging stops, and the furniture of life just falls into place. That vehicle was the fever. Chattering metal and raving dance of loose bolts in the smell of the children's car sick. She rose from it for gradually longer and longer intervals. At first, what fell into place was what was vanished. The past. In the dimness and traced brightness of a tribal hut, the equilibrium she regained was that of the room in a shift boss's house on mine property she had had to herself once around the sister had gone to boarding school. Picking them up one by one, she went over the objects of her collection on the bookshelf. The miniature brass coffee pot and tray, the 4 bone elephants, one with a broken trunk, a khaki pottery bulldog with a Union Jack painted on his back, a lavender bag trimmed with velvet forget-me-nots hung from the upright hinge on the adjustable mirror of the dressing table, cut out against the window whose light was meshed by minute squares of the flyer wire screen, clogged with mine dust and dead gnats. The dented silver stopper of a cut glass scent bottle was cemented by the glass neck by layers and layers of dried silver pottage, and her school shoes waiting outside the door. A rabbit with a brown patch like a birthmark over one eye and ear was waiting in his garden hutch to be fed. As if the vehicle had made a journey so far beyond the norm of its present design, dividing its passengers, that the master bedroom ensuite had been lost, jolted out of chronology as the room where her returning consciousness properly belonged, the room she had left 4 days ago. The shapes of pigs passed the doorway, and there were calls in one of the languages she had never understood. Once she always knew, her husband was awake, although still breathing sturdily as drunk. She heard herself speak. Where is it? She was feeling herself contained by the vehicle. She said to hide it in the bush. Another time she heard something between a rustling and a gnawing. What was that? He didn't answer. He had driven most of the time for 3 days and 3 nights, so if no longer asleep, then stunned by the need for sleep. She slowly began to inhabit the hut around her. Empty, except for an iron bed. The children asleep on the vehicle seats. The other objects of the place belonged to another category. Nothing but a stiff rolled-up cowhide, a hoe on a nail, a small pile of rags, and part of a broken primus stove left against the wall. The hen and chickens were moving there, but the slight sound she heard did not come from them. Otherwise, there would be mice and rats here. Flies wandered round the air and found the eyes and mouths of her children, probably still smelling of vomit.